Welcome to Review Central. This is DCAT Reviewer number 5, featuring questions for the DCAT Reading Comprehension subtest. This reviewer is intended for those who are eyeing, or are set to take, the DLSU College Admission Test or DCAT. There are 10 questions featured on this reviewer. All questions are modeled on actual passages and questions that appeared on previous DCATs. Before we proceed, don't forget to subscribe to Review Central and click or press the bell button to make sure you get notified whenever we post a new reviewer or other review materials on this channel. Now let's begin. In the DCAT Reading Comprehension subtest, you will be reading passages or selections like this in silence. You have to read the passage as fast as you can, so you must train yourself to read and comprehend long passages quickly. For this reviewer, we are going to read the passage for you. You may read along. After reading the passage to you, you will be given a series of questions, together with their corresponding answer choices. You may pause the video and backtrack to this slide should you need to refer back to the passage. We have also provided time links or bookmarks in the description for you to quickly navigate back and forth between the passage and the questions. Shown is the text lifted from a letter of Dr. Jose Rizal to his friend, A.B. Meyer, obtained from Letter 62, Miscellaneous Correspondence, Volume 2 Book 4, translated by Encarnacion Alzona.
33 Rue Philippe de Champagne, Brussels. March 5, 1890. Dr. A.B. Meyer. My distinguished friend. I received your letter of the 27th last month and excuse me for not answering you before this, for I have had to consult some country men and books concerning your question about hashish. No book, no historian that I know of speaks of any plant whose use is similar to that of the hashish. I myself, though in 1879 I used hashish, did it for experimental purposes and I obtained the substance from a drugstore. I do not believe that its use has been introduced either before or after the arrival of the Spaniards. The Filipinos drank arrack, nipa palm and coconut wine, etc. and they chewed buyo before the arrival of the Spaniards, but not hashish. Neither is a word resembling it found in the language. The is or osis is a kind of wild fig tree. If I had Father Blanco's flora, I could find out if this plant exists. I believe therefore that its use is unknown. Opium was introduced only after the arrival of the Spaniards. We Tagalogs call it apian. Signed by, Jose Rizal.
Questions 1 to 4 are based on the above passage. Reading Comprehension question number 1. Who is the distinguished friend of Rizal? A. Dr. A.B. Meyer. B. Father Blanco. C. Both A and B. D. None of the above. E. I cannot tell from the letter. The correct answer is A. Dr. A.B. Meyer. The letter is addressed to Dr. A.B. Meyer, whom Rizal called his distinguished friend. Reading Comprehension question number 2. We can infer from the letter that hashish is A. A Spanish drink. B. An exotic delicacy. C. A species of plants. D. A species of trees. E. A type of medicine. The correct answer is A. A type of medicine. It is stated in the second paragraph that Rizal obtained the substance from a drugstore. Therefore, we can infer that during Rizal's time, hashish is considered as a type of medicine typically bought from a drugstore. Reading Comprehension question number 3. The Opium War was led by the Philippines. This statement is A. True. B. False. C. Maybe. D. It is not stated in the letter. E. Highly probable. The correct answer is D. It is not stated in the letter. While we might have learned from history that the Opium War occurred in China and has nothing to do with the Philippines, it is not mentioned in the text. Remember that in reading comprehension tests, your answers must only be based on the given passages. Reading comprehension question number 4. Based on the letter, when was opium introduced to the Philippines? A. Before the arrival of Spaniards. B. After the arrival of the Spaniards. C. Either before or after the arrival of Spaniards. D. March 5, 1890. E. 1979. The correct answer is B. After the arrival of the Spaniards. March 5, 1890 is the date of Rizal's letter, not when opium was introduced to the Philippines. Therefore, D can be immediately eliminated. 1979 is almost a century after Rizal's time, so he could not have referred to it as the time when opium was introduced to the Philippines. We can also immediately eliminate E. Rizal states in the last paragraph of his letter that opium was introduced after the arrival of the Spanish colonizers. Questions 5 to 10 are based on the newspaper column by Amgathar Ocampo entitled, Rizal the User, as it appeared in both the broadsheet and online versions of the Philippine Daily Inquirer on August 19, 2016. For your reference, we have also provided a link to the actual article in Inquirer.net in the description. Again, we will read the passage for you. You may read along.
If Jose Rizal were alive today, he would probably be found dead on a Manila street with a crude cardboard sign identifying him as a drug user. Rizal, after all, admitted taking hashish when he was 18 years old. But someone should explain to the trigger-happy police or vigilantes that in Rizal's time, hashish, which we know today as marijuana, Mary Jane, or jutes, was not what it is now, a prohibited drug. It was considered medicine and was dispensed freely from a drugstore. We know that Rizal experimented with hashish from a letter he wrote to the German anthropologist Dr. A.B. Meyer of Dresden on March 5, 1890, in answer to a query on hashish in the Philippines. The thought that Rizal could be executed without trial today, based on his admission made in the letter, made me rethink a position I have long held regarding the national hero's chance of being elected president of the Philippines. Knowing what Rizal was like as a person, and how he was first rejected in the election for the leader of the Filipino community in Spain, when he ran against Marcelo H. del Pilar, I am of the opinion that he will not even be elected barangay captain in Colombo or Dapitan. He will be too serious for voters who elect people who can dance and sing at the drop of a hat. Since he will be too principled to buy votes or pay poll watchers, this significantly trims his chances of election victory. I used to say that if Rizal were alive today he would probably be shot in Luneta all over again because he would rail against the people and structures that make life in the Philippines unbearable. Now he may be killed for simply admitting to experimenting with marijuana. I will not speculate on why the 18-year-old Rizal was experimenting with marijuana, but we see that in the 19th century some things we consider dangerous drugs today, like cocaine and heroin, were medicines dispensed by drugstores. Opium was confined to the Chinese. Its sale and distribution were regulated because it brought in revenues to the government. When the First Republic under Emilio Aguinaldo was established, opium was still considered part of the revenue track. That all changed when the Americans took over, and it has been banned ever since. If you take the trouble to read the epilogue to Noli Me Tangere, you will see a reference to opium use and how it changed the once jolly Capitan Tiago into a shell of his former self. Not one of our readers now would recognize Capitan Tiago if they saw him. He already fell into a state of total depression such that he began to lose weight and became morose and breeding and suspicious. He wanted to live alone. He took to playing liampo and to cockfighting with such a frenzy that he began to smoke opium. If at any time, when afternoon comes, and you pass the first street of Santa Cristo, you will see seated in a Chinese store a smallish, jaundiced man, thin and bent, with sunken sleepy eyes and muddied lips, and nails, staring at people as if he does not see them. At nightfall you will see him rise painfully, and leaning on a cane, head for a narrow alley to enter a filthy hut at the entrance of which there is a sign in big red letters, Fumidero Público de Anfion, public smoking den for opium. One other relic of the opium days is Fumidero Street in San Nicolas near Binondo that is classified today as a commercial area, with price per square meter recorded in the internet at 23,625 pesos. Reflecting on the growing number of corpses of suspected drug pushers and users found on the streets daily made me ask how long it will take before people realize that extrajudicial killings are not right. Despite the glare of the media, both local and international, and a touching front page photo in the Inquirer, it seems that most Filipinos think the victims deserved what they got. There was a recent high-profile rally in Luneta to protest the planned burial of Ferdinand Marcos in the Libing and Nong Mga Bayani. but there has been no such turnout for the victims of the extrajudicial killings, or even the innocent people killed in the Maguindanao massacre, the trial of which is still ongoing, and will probably linger on until people forget or become jaded.
Reading comprehension question number 5. The author implies in the first paragraph that the use of drugs during Jose Rizal's time: A. Provides historical background about opium. B. Contributes to medical discoveries. C. Affects the national hero's image. D. Shows teenage delinquency. E. Is different from today's perception. The correct answer is E. Is different from today's perception. The first paragraph states, but someone should explain to the trigger-happy police or vigilantes that in Rizal's time, hashish, which we know today as marijuana, Mary Jane, or Jutes, was not what it is now, a prohibited drug. Reading comprehension question number 6. The drug that Rizal used in his experiment is known today as A. Hashish. B. Marijuana. C. Cocaine. D. Heroin. E. Crack. The correct answer is B. Marijuana. The answer can be found in the third sentence of the first paragraph. Reading comprehension question number 7. Which of the following traits best describes the author's notion that it is impossible for Rizal to hold a government position? A. Creativity. B. Resilience. C. Determination. D. Bravery and strength. E. Honesty and integrity. The correct answer is E. Honesty and integrity. The author describes Rizal as principled and someone who would oppose the people and structures that make life in the Philippines unbearable. He is also described as too serious for voters who elect people who can dance and sing at the drop of a hat. Such descriptions are associated with Rizal's moral character. Among the choices, only choice E describes one's moral character. Reading comprehension question number 8. What is the literary reference in the passage? A. El filibusterismo. B. Noli me tangere. C. The reign of greed. D. La Liga Filipina. E. Fumadero. The correct answer is B. Noli me tangere. In paragraph 7, the author made reference to the novel Noli me tangere to make a point. Reading comprehension question number 9. Given that the article is published in 2016 amidst the war on drugs, what social issue is the line Rizal could be executed without trial today related to? A. Poverty. B. Drug abuse. C. Extrajudicial killing. D. Slow justice system. E. Death penalty. The correct answer is C. Extrajudicial killing. The first sentence of the first paragraph alludes to the extrajudicial killings, which is criticized in the last two paragraphs, during the Philippines' war on drugs. Reading comprehension question number 10. What is the thematic concept of the passage? A. Betrayal. D. Patriotism. C. Depression. D. Forgiveness. E. Social awareness. The correct answer is E. Social awareness. Since the author is taking a stance against extrajudicial killing, which is a social issue, we can infer that the author is raising social awareness. You have just completed DCAT Reviewer number 5, which featured questions for the DCAT Reading Comprehension subtest. If you wish to watch more DCAT reviewers for the DCAT Reading Comprehension subtest, check out our DCAT Reading Comprehension Reviewers playlist. Check out also our other DCAT playlists for other reviewer topics. If you haven't done so yet, please don't forget to subscribe to Review Central and click or press the bell button to make sure you get notified whenever we post a new reviewer or other review materials on this channel. Please like if you find this video useful, and feel free to share it to anyone who may also benefit from it. We wish you all the best on your forthcoming DCAT, and we look forward to your exciting days as a Luzalian. Ánimo, Salle.